Rome did not emerge in a vacuum. Before the first Roman stones were laid, an older civilization had already developed the complex city planning and engineering that would define the Italian peninsula for 1,000 years. For centuries, the Italian heartland belonged to the Etruscans, a maritime power that controlled the trade routes between the Alps and the Mediterranean. While the Greeks built in marble that survived the ages, the Etruscans constructed their cities with wood and clay. Over 2 millennia, those settlements were slowly absorbed or overwritten by the Roman cities that followed. Today, the only surviving evidence of their architecture exists underground. We find it within massive, grass-covered stone mounds known as tumuli, vast cities built specifically for the dead. To understand the society that built the foundations of Italy, we have to look past the empty surface and into these subterranean chambers. Descending into the rock-cut chambers of Tarquinia, the darkness opens into rooms filled with vivid color. Figures in bright robes recline at banquets, musicians play the double flute, and athletes compete in wrestling matches. The walls focus on the physical world of the living. Etruscan religious life centered on the idea that social hierarchy and memory should continue into the grave. The tomb was built to maintain the status and leisure the deceased enjoyed in life. These paintings serve as a precise record of their social structure, their fashion, and their daily rituals, preserved by the very stone that was meant to seal them away. The architecture within these tombs mirrors the reality of the surface world. At Cerveteri, the pillars and ceilings are carved to imitate the support beams and thatched roofs of wooden Etruscan houses, with stone versions of actual household tools hanging from the walls. Many chambers include a central area positioned for receiving guests or managing business, a room the Romans would later call the tablinum. The people themselves appear within these spaces in the form of lifelike terracotta portraits. A husband and wife sit together on a dining couch, the man resting his hand on his partner's shoulder. This shared public space reflects a social structure where women attended banquets and held a prominent status that surprised their Greek and Roman neighbors. By recreating their homes in stone, the Etruscans left behind a detailed inventory of their private lives and their social attitudes. The wealth required to build these chambers came from a massive industrial network. Beyond the quiet cemeteries, the Etruscans operated some of the most productive iron and bronze foundries in the ancient world. The core of this wealth was the island of Elba, which held the most significant deposits of iron ore in the Mediterranean. Ships carried this raw ore across the water to coastal hubs like Populonia, transforming the coast into a manufacturing center. This wealth was reinvested into luxury exports, like Bucchero ware, a dark, metallic pottery shaped to imitate the silver and bronze vessels used by the elite. This economic power was managed by a league of 12 independent city-states, whose leaders met annually at a sacred shrine called the Fanum Voltumnae to coordinate their trade and religious life. The art found in the tombs was the product of a Mediterranean economic powerhouse. As Rome expanded its borders, it engaged in a series of brutal wars with these city-states, eventually breaking their independence at the Battle of Lake Vatiman in 283 BC. Rome integrated the defeated populations, adopting their engineering, their religious rituals, and their architectural styles. The layout of the Roman house, the design of their temples, and the practice of reading omens were all carried over from the older Etruscan systems. The connection is so deep that the capital in Wolf, the icon of Rome's founding myth, was long thought to be a piece of Etruscan bronzework. We can track this transition in their portraiture. The expressive terracotta faces found in early tombs eventually evolved into the realistic bronze statues of toga-clad officials that we now recognize as the face of the Roman Republic. These silent cities of the dead provide the clearest view into the very foundations of the ancient Roman world. They didn't simply disappear. They became the architecture, the rituals, and the people of Rome itself.